summer 2021 quickly approaches, this list is a gentle reminder that the fuckboys are out there and they are lurking. This list is meant to help you identify fuckboys that may be torpedoing your way this summer. And please, send your fuckboy blockers my way as well. Fuckboys to avoid this summer. Number 1, the fuckboy who brags about being immune to COVID because he got it in September. Also fuckboys who brag about getting it last April, May, June, July, or August. Late fall and winter fuckboys who got COVID, we'll save those for a different episode. Number 2, the hey or what you doing or hi at 1 a.m. fuckboys. They're bored and they drank all their Jameson. Number 3, the fuckboy ordering shots upon entering. Cool it, Eric. Give me a chance to assess the situation and see if I'm even gonna bang you yet before you start ordering warm gold Jose Cuervo. We'll save the shots for after apps in case you're hot but boring. Number 4, the guy wearing the Doge t-shirt. Repeat after me. It is okay to own Doge, but we must no longer hold the line if he's wearing it as his attire. Number 5, and this is just classic, look for tan lines on that ring finger. If you see one, then his 3 roommates are his wife and 2 children. Number 6, quotes Joe Rogan more than twice. Look, I can get behind 2 Joe Rogan quotes, okay? It's likely through experience you know what you're doing in the sheets, your 401k is in really good shape, and I'm probably never going to find out what this dinner cost. But 3 times, we get into dangerous territory, and I don't want to hear about MMA all night, and how you would microdose, you're just waiting for it to be a little more regulated. Plus, if I knew you were going to quote Joe Rogan 3 times, I wouldn't have ordered a 4th rosé, Mr. Splits. Number 7, check his Vax card at the door. You don't want to be the one making out with a hot fuckboy who you think's talking about Pfizer, but really he's talking about Gardasil. Don't let him catch you slipping.
Time for
Duh.
Rocket Run!
Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. I hope you're all doing great. I'm sending a lot of positive vibes your way, especially if you're vaccinated. So the CDC and Joey B, they said we can go out without masks now if you're fully vaccinated. But when I'm walking outside, I hang it off my ear so we don't get a case of mistaken identity. Shout out to my mom, sweet little Leah, as they call her in the streets. I got her some CBD because the little lady likes CBD. I got carded buying the CBD, thank you very much. Would have kissed him if we weren't in a pandemic. So the milligrams were 25, and she popped one as soon as she opened her gift. Now, I don't really mess with CBD too much. One time a friend gave me a CBD chunk roller for aches and pains that looked like a giant chapstick, so I used it as a giant chapstick for 1.5 years till it ran out. My mom and I were going for birthday pedicures, and we drive to one nail place. Parking lot's full. Okay, it's a Saturday, that makes sense. We'll try another one. We go to the next one. This one has an empty parking lot. We didn't think we needed an appointment because it was kind of spur of the moment petties. So I'm feeling optimistic now. And my mom said she needed to get something out of her bag. So I told her I was going to run in and see if they could squeeze us in. I also was running to beat the car that pulled in right behind us. When I got in, they were unsure if they could take us and they told me to wait. And I'm inside for about 5 minutes and my mom never came in. And then they say, sorry, we can't fit you in. Okay, that's fine. That's very understandable. I go outside and I see my mom. Half of her body is in the car, and then she has one leg sticking up in the air. What are you looking for, lady? And she's hysterically laughing at this point. She tells me, Rock, you gotta drive. Are you sure that was CBD you gave me? And she just can't stop giggling and talking about how high she feels from the CBD. So we're about to pass this big plaza, and since I'm driving, I can't really look off to the side to see if there's a nail salon. So I say, keep a lookout and see if there's a nail salon. Then she says, nope, only a hair salon and a buffet. I peeked over really quickly and there was indeed a nail salon in this plaza. So I had to do a U-turn in a lumber yard and drive back to the nail place. We got our pedicure. It's great success. And I still had to drive us back to the house after the pedicure because she was still a little high. For once, I wasn't the most stoned one in the room. Which brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts. My highest thoughts this week were a little less random thoughts. They brought something up for me. The first one is an idea. I have this little zipper delicates bag that I wash my delicates in. I had been washing my cloth masks in it, but then I had this stone thought. What if I wash my disposable masks in it too? Party gods. It worked. Other than the matte lipstick stains I'll never get out, it worked. They were perfectly intact, and I was a little eco-friendly, thank you very much. Number 2, I was watching a Black Lady sketch show, watch it if you don't already, and someone said, Tay Diggs follows them on Instagram. A few years back, people were doing a trend called hashtag 100 happy days, where every day they'd share something that made them happy that day. So I flipped this trend on its side and turned it into hashtag 100 happy Tays. Every day for 100 days, I tweeted a new reason why Tay Diggs should follow me on Twitter, using the hashtag 100 happy Tays. He never followed me. Number 3, I saw someone wear a floral printed shirt, and it reminded me of the one time I wore a booty shorts floral romper all over Disney World's Animal Kingdom and Epcot. While I was in line for a ride at Animal Kingdom, a group of 4 people around my age at the time who had just left their polo shirt and khaki short convention, apparently, pointing and laughing at me because of my outfit. I said to the person I was with, I think they're making fun of me. And he said, I think they are too. Then I paid the ride operator $1,000 to stop them at the top for an hour until they begged for mercy. Just kidding, I didn't have $1,000 to do that. I just ignored them and drank 13 of Epcot's finest country's drinks and woke up in the passenger seat of our rental car in front of a Holiday Inn in Kissimmee, baby. Fuck those people. That was a cute romper. My guest today is the one, the only Chase Abel. Not only is Chase an absolutely hilarious stand-up comedian, he's also the longtime co-host of the Ready, Set, Blow podcast. His wild word was runaway, but you shouldn't run away. You should stay. We talk glory days, present days. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Wild Nights with Rocky, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. To those of you who've written a review on Apple Podcasts, thank you. It really does make a difference. True blue party gods write true blue reviews. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Chase Abel. Chase, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Rocky.
Absolutely. I'm happy to have you. So I know you told me that you were doing a little traveling. You were just in New York doing some shows. Is that correct?
New York, yeah, not too long ago. Yes, that was always, New York City is always a fun time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I always enjoy New York City, performing in New York, because just the energy is so much different, you know.
Yeah.
I love New York City.
Yeah, because you're originally from Boston. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're right in saying
Yeah.
that.
So they're very different. I'm a New England person myself originally. I'm from Connecticut. So I know the energy. Connecticut's kind of that middle point between Boston and New York City, where you can get a little bit of the mix of New York, a little bit of the mix of Boston, but they are very different cities. So.
Oh, yeah. I think, Boston, New York, I think they kind of share a little bit of the same attitude,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. But there is a little kind of a step up in the energy when it comes to New York City. It's like,
right.
I think it's kind of forced on people who live there. It's like you have to get with it, or you'll be left behind if you don't. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that the crowds in Boston are tougher than New York crowds?
A little bit.
Yeah.
From my experience, yeah. Just we in Boston, we're just
savage.
We just don't care.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think it takes a while, you know. It's not even it's actually interesting. It's not even like just comedy too. It's actually like a lot of other things too. So it's just like people in Boston like you when that you leave them alone. That's how they are in Boston. Like it's
But New York's the same way. People don't want to be bothered. Or you know what I'll say about being a New Yorker? People will, if someone stops you for directions or something, they expect New Yorkers to be really mean. And then when you're like, oh, you just need to take a left up there or take that train, they're actually surprised. Oh, that New Yorker was so nice to me. In Boston, I feel like someone would be like, oh, fucking figure it out.
Oh, yeah. It's yeah. One of my friends has a really good joke about that. Him going to a Dunkin' Donuts, and even the people at Dunkin' Donuts are like mean. It's like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but it's like it's a love. It's like we like it.
Yeah,
If you're from New England or New York City, it's like you can complain about it, but you really like it, which is weird.
absolutely. So even though you're from there originally, I guess in a sense you ran away.
Yeah, I ran away.
So Chase's wild word was runaway. So everyone's dying to know what your story about runaway is. I know I am. So Chase, please tell us about your wild night.
All right. So this particular story dates back many years ago during my college days.
Okay, where'd you go to college?
I went to a small private school just outside of Boston,
Nice.
in Newton. It's called Well, it was called Mount Ida College. The college is no longer there anymore. It was
Is that
bought by.
your
It was
fault?
probably. I probably was the catalyst behind a lot of things that they shouldn't have done. But fun fact though, I actually went to the same college as Gary V. So
Oh
we
my god.
so
Are you
we
friends?
both probably both contributed to the demise of like
His videos are so funny. I feel like I like Gary V, but I feel like the quality
Oh, I
of
love
the
them. I
videos
love them.
he's
Yeah.
when it's like Gary V, she showed me. Like it
Yeah.
sounds like reading Rainbow or something, but that's cool. I went to the same college as Flava Flav, so also a small private college.
That is hilarious. My podcast partner, my friend, he actually clubbed with him just not too recently ago. He has a story about that. So
Oh,
too.
maybe I'll have to have him on then.
Yeah. I feel like if you know Flavor Flav, or even you will have a story for sure.
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you went to college, same college as Gary V. You said it not at the same time.
No, he was about a year, yeah, a couple of years, like, yeah, about a
Gotcha.
year. No, actually, a year, yeah.
Gotcha. So the college no longer exists.
It no longer exists, and I think this particular event was probably like one of the reasons. So,
Uh-oh.
all right, well, it's not too bad. Well, let's just say like, okay, so basically, it stems back many many years ago. So I was in college, and I used to hang out with a group of guys that were pretty. They're pretty cool guys. I owed a lot to them. They introduced me to a lot of things, and I always wanted to kind of follow in their footsteps in a way. Like I
Right.
kind of like I looked up to them.
Mhm.
So and we worked together. In college, I had a full time job and going to school, and I played basketball. So I was like, I never was really good at time management. I probably should have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You dipping your toes in everything.
Yeah. So we decided, we're working at GNC at the
Mhm.
time. I don't know if people even know what GNC is anymore, but
Oh yeah, they're around. They're around the city. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a nutritional store. You can bulk up there, get some vitamins there, get some creatine there.
yeah, all the good stuff, all the good
Yeah.
stuff. So we decided, we're working one shift. This is like a Friday night, and we're just like, hey, let's just have a party back at the dorms. At the time, the college is a dry campus.
Mm,
So you can't, people don't know dry campus means you can't have alcohol on it,
absolutely, yeah.
which ultimately means you can't have alcohol because college kids don't give a shit. Like,
You can't. A dry campus means you can't get caught having alcohol.
right, right. That's actually right.
Mhm.
So we decided, hey man, we're gonna. So we pulled in together some money, and we were like, okay, we need to get alcohol because you can't have a party without alcohol.
No.
So we decided to go to the liquor store after our shift when the shift was closed at GNC, and we went to the liquor store. We actually had our friend who was like over 21 buy the liquor for us. It was about $200 worth of liquor, right?
Mhm.
Which is a lot for like college kids, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So we go, so we go back to college, and then we bring all like the liquor back to the dorm, and we start drinking, and we start having fun. People start coming to the dorm rooms. Boom, 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 boom. You get a knock at the door. The RA starts coming, right?
Mhm.
Boom. They catch us with the alcohol. They make us pour it out, the whole 9 yards, right?
They should have just confiscated it and drank it themselves. RAs, man.
Yeah, yeah. Which is interesting because the RAs were so like weird because they're the ones that enforced the rules, but they also were the ones that you like drank with them on a night they were off.
Yeah.
It's like, so they had power, but they whatever. That's a whole different story.
Yes, but
Like,
I agree. It's like you're exercising your power for the wrong stuff, man. Just turn a blind eye. Get that free housing and turn a blind eye, man.
Exactly, man. So we had a party, right? So whatever, they came in, they shook us down. We had to pour everything out, and I was pissed because I'm like, we just spent so much money on this, right? All right. So part of the punishment was for us, all of my friends that were involved, me, my
Right.
friend Damien, my name Phil. We had to not be on campus for 2 weekends in a row. So we had to go back home. We had to like not be on campus. That was like the punishment that the housing gave to us.
Okay.
So it's like a suspension, quote unquote. You can't be on grounds for 2 weekends in a row.
Gotcha.
We're like, cool, we get it. It's better than like telling our parents or something, right? Whatever. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but this is what happened. So the very first weekend, the weekend after, which was it started, that's when our weekend was off. And we're chilling at my friend's house. We're like, dude, like we're so bored. And when you're 19 years old and got nothing to do, the only thing you want to do is be back on campus.
Yeah.
So we came up with a plan to sneak back on campus.
Okay.
And this is what happens, right? So we're a bunch of idiot jocks, right? Like trying to figure out a plan to sneak back on campus, right? And our campus, we have security checkpoints at the front, right? We're like, dude, we need to know like how we get by security.
And security is notified when someone is banned from the campus for the weekend, right? So you couldn't just show your ID and go back on because people are aware. Right. Okay.
Yeah, they have all like the bolo outs, like the all like be on the lookout for
the wanted posters.
So they, we're like, all right. So my friend Phil, right? Phil's like, okay, he's my friend Phil, cool dude, he's a white dude, Italian dude, very stern face. He has a stern face. So we know he has a great poker face, right? So we're like, me and my boy Damien, right? My boy Damien was like, listen, this is what you're gonna do, Phil. We're gonna hide in the trunk, right? And you're gonna go up to security, and because he's allowed on campus, he didn't get caught with the alcohol.
Damien is allowed.
Me and Damien is not allowed back on campus.
But Phil is good to go.
Phil's good to go. Right.
He knows a guy.
There's always a guy that knows a guy.
Yeah.
And he's Italian, so it makes sense.
Of course. Yeah.
So we drive up to like probably about 100 yards before we reach the checkpoint. Me and Damien get out of this is like a 1992 Honda Civic.
Okay.
Right. You're talking about two pretty much grown men getting into the trunk of a car that's probably like 5x4.
And that you can probably hear from 3 blocks away.
Exactly. Right. Oh yeah. Phil was Italian, but he definitely had some Puerto Rican senses for sure.
It was a hoopsie.
Yeah, it was a hoopsie. So we pull up, right? So we got in, right? And we're so nervous. Phil's like, okay, Phil, don't talk too much. Just say, hey, I'm coming back on campus, show your ID. And we go, yeah. We get in. Coast is clear.
Nice.
Right? So we park the car, we go back up to the dorm, right? But we're so stupid. Like the security people have cameras.
Yeah.
Like we didn't think about that. Like we just was like, oh, we're just gonna stay in our room and just like hide out, right?
Yeah.
10 minutes later, we're in the dorm room, right? Actually, before we even get to that point, right? I skipped the whole runaway step. So I'm
we need that's the most important step.
Yeah, I stepped out. That's the most important step. So I get too friggin' like jittery about the story because it's crazy.
It's like PTSD.
Right. So what happened was, right? We went ahead. So actually, we went upstairs to the dorm room, right? Before there was a knock on the door, we actually went back out to get some more to get something out the car. Public safety, security saw us. So me and my friend Damien, my campus, Mount Ida, was in the woods. So it's a wooded area, right? So me and my friend Damien, we run into the woods. Like we jacked it, right? And the wooded area, like there's deer, like this is where like there's deer, there's snakes, there's all types of crazy stuff out there. So me and Damien, like we're like in the woods, just like watching the lights of the public safety cops like just look for us in the woods.
Oh God.
And we're just like, we're kind of like just like it brought us back. Me and Damien's laughing because we're kind of like being like ninja-ish. And we're like doing rolls for no reason. Like
mad extra.
Mad extra. And then me and Damien's like, yo, is this what Harriet Tubman had to go through? Like,
is this her plight?
It's like, yo, so we're just like, we're hiding. And then they're looking for us, right? So we wait like 45 minutes. We literally was like, just quiet, man.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, the coast is clear. So we get out of the woods, but we have to run across the football field in order to get to the dorm. So me and my friend Damon, we book it like 100 yards to
Right.
get to the other side, to get to the dorm. But the public safety, they see us, so they start chasing after us like with a siren.
Mhm.
So I'm like, so me and Damon's like, yo, let's just split and we'll meet up later. So it's like this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
So we finally make it to the dorm room, right? And we're running. This is like an hour and a half. And Phil's like calling us. He's like, where the heck are you guys, right? We're like, dude, open the door. Don't have it locked. Get back to the room. Public safety's like chasing us. We need to get back into the room.
Yeah.
So we eventually ran. We kept on running. We got to the dorm. We closed the door. 15 minutes later, knock on the door. Public safety, open the door, right? We're like, shit, what do we do?
Yeah.
So me and Damien were like, okay, we made up a brilliant plan already, right? So let's just hide under the covers with a blanket in the closet.
I'm done with this story.
So they came in, right?
I'm tapping out.
You tapping out? Like,
A blanket in the closet in the dorm room together?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 grown men. But this is how they caught us, actually. They caught us by like, because me and Damien's feet were out.
Yeah.
Like, so the blankets were covering all our body, but like it wasn't covering like some of our toes.
Yeah.
And they were just like, guys, just come out. Like you're caught. And we're like, shit. Like, no. So it's like, this is, so I'm like, you know, when you told me about a story a while back, I'm just like, that's like one of the like top ones on my list.
God, yeah. Now, what were the repercussions? So you already know your repercussions for drinking on campus, 2 weeks off campus. Now, for getting caught sneaking back on campus, what do they do to you guys?
They suspended us for like 2 more weekends on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah. But the greatest part of the whole story is that the public safety, as they were like telling us to leave campus, because we had to leave, you know, they were like, hey guys, I'll be honest with you, I've been here 10 years working at this campus. That was the best work I've ever done in my life. Like, you guys made us work for our money.
You made it a little exciting for us.
Yeah, man. So
our public safety officers on my campus were like 65-year-old frail white dudes. There wasn't much there was nothing intimidating about them to me. They all looked like that cop from what's that whistling song? The Andy Griffin Show.
Oh, the Andy Griffin Show, yeah. Oh my God, really? Okay.
Yeah, but not Andy Griffin, the other cop.
Don Knotts.
Yes, they all look like him, mad skinny and just like, you shouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, you probably should be like in bed rest somewhere. You look like you're about to blow away.
Yeah, but this is the thing. A lot of people don't know, like the public safety, like security people, they're usually pretty young, so they relate to the students. So if you just kind of schmooze to the public safety security people, you're good for 4 years at college, you know?
That was not our requirement. I think they were like asking our public safety officers, are you over 65, white, and malnourished? Come work as a public safety officer. Like, it was not the move. So are you still friends with Damien and Phil?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Damien's he's actually a very kind of notable personal trainer in Los Angeles now. Does a lot of things with like an entertainment business there.
Awesome. So his GNC kind of, he leveled up from GNC.
Oh, he definitely leveled up. he definitely leveled up from that. We have me and that boy has some dope ass stories for sure. Yeah. I didn't even tell you like our club stories. We have club stories too, which is crazy.
Well, tell me a club story. You kind of talked it up now. I did love the college story. I felt like you made me reminisce a little bit. But if you got, you can't giggle and laugh and then say we got great stories and then the show's Wild Nights.
Okay, this is part of like, this is the problem with men when they're young. Okay. Right. They think they're gonna look good forever, right?
Yeah.
So vanity is a thing, right? So when you're a young man or a young teenager going to college or whatever, and you're pumping up and you're like you think your body is your vessel to like women, right? So this is what we used to do. So we used to go to club. We used to club every night in college too. Like we were like I'm a little older. I don't know how old you are, but like I come from a generation where like there was clubs. Like you went to clubs, like you danced and like people talked and people like had fun. You come out the club sweating.
Yeah, like just dripping with that stick on you. I have been going to clubs. I don't think I really did clubs too much in my 20s because I did them so much in my teenage years because they would
Oh,
shut down adult clubs and then do teen nights like once every 4 to 6 weeks. So I did that from
right.
like 13 to 18, and then when I turned 18 when I went to college, I was doing clubs a lot. So yeah, I mean I graduated college in 2010.
Yeah, I didn't graduate. I just went. Like I
Yeah,
just
you just hung out.
yeah,
You just hung out in trunks.
I just hung out in trucks and like partied and like made money. Like that's all I did. But
But
we
yeah,
would
similar generation probably.
yeah, but we would like go to these clubs, man, and we would just like dance and talk and all this stuff.
Uh huh.
And we were pretty like, we were athletes, so we were like always in the gym and working out and shit.
Hmm.
Not now, obviously, but like we would come out and we would take our. We were so stupid. Like we would take. So the way to leave the club, everyone had to leave in the cars. It was one way in, one way out. So you actually had to like go the same way.
Yeah.
So we would purposely stand outside, like as cars were exiting, with our shirts off.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, with our shirts off, right? And we would, and so girls would like be like, "Hey, whatever, whatever." We'd be like, "Hey, what
Right.
up, right?"
I would
And
too.
then
Yeah.
so it actually would be me, Phil, and Damon, right? And it
Hmm.
like, but then we would match that energy with other guys from different cities. So other guys from different cities also had their shirts off too, trying to like have wars or trying to get girls. It was so
Right.
stupid. Like, it was so stupid.
I mean,
Like,
it's not a terrible idea. Everyone's very hormonal at that age, and I feel like me and my girlfriends would have probably been excited about the procession line of men.
it was, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a real story. It just, I guess that was more of like something
You just
stupid.
wanted to flex on them for a real quick second and let
I
them
wanted
know.
to flex, like I wanted to go back to my vanity days, you know.
You wanted to let the streets know if you could, you like if you wanted to, you could.
Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely true. Plus, I have a real problem of having big. What's the guy from All in the Oh my God, Al Bundy moments. I have really
Oh,
bad Al Bundy moments. Like I think I live in the past a lot, so
your glory days, you're
yeah,
recalling the football games.
yeah. I'm like when I was 21, the people like, dude, you're like double the age now. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like
You're like, I care. You should have seen me outside that club.
my friend told me something the other day while I was on a podcast. Probably like not well. He has a podcast in New York, and we were at on his podcast. He's like, I'm like, yeah, so people look at me as an athlete. He just looks at me with a dead face. He goes, not really. And I was like, in that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm still thinking like I'm 19, 20 years old.
Right. I have that problem with clothing. Like I'm pretty happy with my body. I can't complain, but when you get in your 30s,
Good.
things change and
Sure.
you don't fit the same dress you fit when you were 25, but I do
Right.
keep like those party dresses where I'm like I'll fit in this again for sure, and it's like a size 00.
Dude, yo, Rocket, I just talked about this with a friend of mine. She does not like that idea. Like me and
I
her go
know.
back and she goes back and forth with me about this. I love it.
Mhm.
If I have something in my closet that's like 10 years old, but it's still dope, I'll keep it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's like, well, why keep it? You just keep it on. I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah, I think I have this dress. I'm thinking of a dress specifically from from my 25th birthday, and my 33rd birthday is going to be this Thursday. So it's like if I tried to fit in this dress now, it would go over my leg. So it's
Right.
like a leg warmer, but to think, how much your body changes and you're like, I don't even feel like it changed that much. But yeah, we change. The human experience, baby.
That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. It's so weird. The body, like as you just so one day you wake up and you just be like, damn, why is my shoulder like doing this?
Yeah. Do I
Or
have
why
to
am I
start stretching now?
do I have to incorporate stretching as like my daily, livelihood? And the answer is absolutely
Yes,
yes.
yes. Stretching is what keeps you young, but it's hard to do. Sometimes I don't feel like it.
Exactly. Well, exactly.
So I want to ask you a couple questions about your podcast that you do, Ready, Set, Blow. You
Yeah.
have been doing that for about over 350 episodes. Is that correct? About that many?
I think We are on about 250.
250, 250.
Yeah. So about 4.5 years. Yeah.
So when you and Randy started this podcast, I'll tell you this. I listen to a ton of podcasts, and I listen to them at this point. I listen to them at 2.5 speed, and I can just digest the information really quickly because you just work your way up to listening to them faster. I couldn't listen to your podcast at that speed, and here's why. The two of you have such a rhythm and flow with each other that in order for me to hear it, I needed to slow it down because you're so crisp and on top and respectful of each other's opinions, but still can joke and jab with each other. I really enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. It was never presented to me in that form. So that's interesting. That's very interesting that you said it in that way, because I never thought of it in that. I believe, and I still believe we have a great chemistry.
I agree. Yeah.
A lot of people say that as well, so I'm not just doing another flex like my shirt.
No. I will concur that I agree. Your chemistry is really nice.
Yes, we have a good chemistry, and I think it's part of it is too, like you said, we genuinely like each other.
Yeah,
we're
obvious.
And we generally respect each other, and we come from I wouldn't say kind of similar backgrounds, but I would say similar-ish. Enough to be like, okay, I get you and you get me, and let's start having conversations on a podcast. I'll be honest with you, Rocky, I didn't know what the hell a podcast was until I didn't know any, when podcasts were really kind of still in its infancy stages. I just never got into it. And one day Randy was telling me, hey man, do you listen to podcasts? I was like, what's a podcast? And he explained it to me. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And he started mentioning other people's podcasts that were successful, comedians that we enjoyed. And I was like, oh, he's like, dude, every time we have shows and we're at the comedy club, we always go back to his spot and just talk. He's like, why don't we just do a podcast about and we just started doing it, and it ended up becoming a thing. And the one thing about our podcast that I really like is that we, like you said, we have different opinions, but we also have similar opinions. But, and that's how I feel like kind of life is with people. You don't necessarily have to agree or be into the same things, but if you can explain why you're into those things or why you think these things the other person, then they could start to understand why, versus being like, well, you're wrong or you're right. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yes. I have two things to say about that. One is I think that you guys, the thing I really liked, I was listening to the DMX episode when you guys talk about DMX passing, and he said, he's kind of over people posting just to kind of be like, oh, I met DMX and here's my moment with DMX. And you were able to almost sway his opinion without disrespecting him. You said to him, you got to let people grieve how they grieve. And also, you schooled him a little bit. I don't want to say schooled him because it wasn't in a disrespectful way, but you kind of tipped him to the fact that, you were like, there were probably people in DMX's life that were fighting behind the scenes. And we honor DMX now because we grew up listening to his music, and he is a legend, and his movies, and he is a legend. But nobody cared that he had a drug problem when he was alive. But it's like, yeah, there were people who probably cared. His family probably cared a lot,
They were because, they were.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm so confident, and when I said that, is because I met DMX once. So it's not like I knew his whole life. I met him once. We had a 5-minute conversation, and it was real dude, but you could tell he had a lot of issues, right? But what I was trying to, I guess, convey to Randy, or just tell him, which I think he understands. He's a very smart.
Understood. He took it in, and he respected the way you said it, and you changed his way of thinking at it, and that's what I liked. But continue.
Yeah, and he does a lot for me on the other end, because I'll be quite honest with you. I'm kind of one of these people that I don't really read a lot.
He's an athlete who doesn't read a lot, people.
Well, was an athlete.
Oh, that now we're going with the was narrative. Okay.
Well, you know how it is in Hollywood. You got to retract to get back on. The fact that I said Hollywood also is a little stupid, right? Because I'm not in Hollywood. right? But like the craze, the mind that's in here that thinks I'm so much. It's so stupid. Anyways, back to the course.
Okay.
Um, the
You were saying the things he's taught you, it's been a back and forth.
the one thing about the podcast, the Very Simple podcast, that I'm very, very happy about, and the one thing that I'm very thankful for in regards to my partner Randy is that he challenges my thinking,
Mm-hmm.
my critical thinking. You know, because he's a very smart dude. You know,
Yeah.
he's a very intelligent dude. He went, you
And
know,
he's funny. He's really
and he's
funny.
funny. And he's funny, and he's not corny. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, you know, a lot of people kind of would look at him and think like one way, but if you actually sit down and talk to him, he's like, he'll really blow your mind away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just we come from, you know, different backgrounds, you know, but like, you know, and we just kind of share our stories and our experiences, and you know, he has a lot of like information that I feel is helpful that I can gather. I don't know so much for me, but like I just add my like little 2 cents in here and there. But you're right, we just kind of just, you know, we just respect each other's opinions.
You do, yeah.
And but we, you know, like any close relationship, you know, you have your ticks, your tacks, you have your things, but at the end of the day, like it builds the strength. You're building friendship. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what you have to do. I think so many people are quick to give up on people just because they get angry at them or they're so, you know, yeah.
Everyone's algorithms are, designed personally for them. So it's so easy to be like, you're completely wrong, I'm completely right because of the news I'm being fed. But it's not the case. And yeah, I think you guys have a great podcast. You flow
Thank you.
really nicely. Your energy as friends is really apparent. So I love it. I wanted to ask you, yeah, no worries. I wanted to ask you, since you've been doing it for so many episodes, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself or about podcasting since you started?
It's a great question, Rocky. I would say that I learned that I don't know as much as I thought I know.
Wow.
And that's an honest answer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, listen, like when you're younger and you're kind of like going through the life stuff, you know, you're just, a lot of people just, you know, they're only focused on getting over whatever tribulation that they're going through at that time,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to kind of pay attention or to want to know other things because you have your stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
But I think the podcast for me, I enjoy it, and I actually kind of need it because also because he's moved away since New England. He lives in Los Angeles now.
Right.
So we, you know, it makes us forces us to be in communication with each other,
Where's
touch base.
your home base now? Where are you at?
I'm in Boston right now.
Oh, okay. So you're back. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm in Boston right now. Yeah, but it just makes me, it challenges me. And I didn't, it told me like, it just kind of reinforced the fact that like, I don't know as much as I think I do.
Yeah.
Or say that I do. And if you are going to go out and believe in something and say something, make sure that you are very informed of what you're saying. And listen, a lot of people say stuff that they don't really know why they're saying it, or they never took the time to really analyze or why they got to the conclusion as what they did, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So Randy really challenges me on that, and because he's very good, very educated, you know, and we just, you know, we help each other. I think it's good for me. Yeah, that's what I've learned from podcasts. It's like what I learned from the podcast, and this is, I think, directly from his mouth, Randy's mouth, is that, and we predicate this, and we tell our listeners this: progress is infinite. There's no final destination for progress.
Yeah.
And if you can't say you're informed unless you don't go after it. You have to want to learn things. You have to want to meet people. You have to want to have conversations with people to get perspective, you know? And
yeah.
And that's what it taught me to be more informed and to know what you're talking about from not from your point, but from all other points as well.
And be willing to listen. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, be willing to listen. That's a big one. Yeah. Yeah.
And just, it feels like, I was going to say this earlier to you too, it feels like now if you are a comedian and you don't have a podcast, it'd be like back in the day if you were a comedian or an actor and you didn't have a website. Be like, okay, well, no one really takes you seriously, because I feel like everyone has a podcast now, and you guys kind of got in years ago when it wasn't as necessary.
It wasn't. I think we got at a time where it was still in its infancy stages, like you
Yeah.
said. I mean, obviously there were still podcasts that were very very relevant, and
course,
like Mark Maron, Bill Burr. I think two girls, girls I like to girls I like those
Guys
girls,
We Fucked.
guys. I'm so yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then so those podcasts were really starting to kind of like go up, and Joe Rogan, obviously Joe Rogan, so he's been there for years. So we're like, hey, and he actually said something interesting to me, Randy. He's like, from my community, our the community that we typically kind of talk about a lot, which is like the Black community, podcasts are not really relevant or significant because it's for some reason it doesn't really connect to the Black community really as much. I think more it's like, if we listen for information, it's usually like music or like through we get information through like other avenues except podcasts. So he was like, well, we need to get information to people so they can like, people who are like in the hip hop community, people that are, that's why you see like a lot of like hip hop podcasts now, like, that are starting to come up because now they're starting to understand like this is a different media platform, and you don't really need a lot of production to do. It's very minimal to do a podcast,
Oh yeah.
You can have a lot of podcasts. It just depends on, but is it going to be good? See, us is about quality. We don't care about like quantity.
No. You guys are just trying to put out good work. No,
we try to.
I think, and I do think with the podcasting community, I know for me, I'm seeing all different kind of races, religions, male, female, cis, non-cis, non-binary people doing podcasts now. And it's really beautiful. You could type in anything and there's somebody talking about it, whether they have 3 listeners, 30 listeners, 300 listeners, 300,000. There's something out there. And so I do think that's just going to keep expanding because everybody's interested in something. You know what I mean? And I also want to ask you this. A little bit just more about you, less about the podcasting. I know you open for Godfrey quite a bit. That's somebody that you work with a lot. Who else is somebody? Eventually, Chase is the big guy. He's the guy that people are going to be wanting to open for. But is there somebody besides Godfrey who you're like, damn, that would feel really good to know I could kick off a show before this person?
Ooh, well, shout out to my brother Godfrey for, he's a very awesome dude and gives me a lot of opportunities and we're friends and, and if you guys don't know who Godfrey is, definitely check him out. In my opinion, he's one of the best comedians in the world, stand-up wise.
I was happy and I was shocked to see him on They Ready. I was happy and I was shocked. I was happy because I've known about who Godfrey is. I just thought everybody knew who Godfrey was. And that show is really to introduce comedians that are more underground. So I was surprised he was on there, but I was really happy.
Yeah, we were all happy for him, man. And he's been working hard, and people that know him, they know.
Yeah, he's too legit to quit.
But the world, I guess, from a mainstream perspective, they don't. So it's good that he's getting his dues now, and he's working hard, and he's ready because he's a beast. But to answer your question, I think there's a lot of people. I think the one person that man, that's a good question. I really would like to really work with and even have see, I'm trying to pick a person that someone necessarily won't recognize,
Okay.
Like I like Mark Norman a lot.
Yeah.
I like Mark. Mark is someone I really respect. He's a comedian, obviously.
Yeah, he listens to this podcast. I mean, he might.
Oh, he might. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Mark does, man. The thing, see, that's a great. See, I like your podcast. Because
thank you.
You're very like, you're good. I could tell already you're good at what you do because obviously you just know. I'm sure you just I'm sure there's some podcasts you're like, oh my god, I probably should never go back. But
what have I done?
What have we done? We could talk about. Yeah, and you haven't asked one anal question, which is great because a lot of these podcasts.
Well, actually, my next question was, do you do anal? No. So Cat's out of the bag.
That's out of the bag.
So Mark Norman, that would be great.
Mark Norman's one. Eric Griffin.
Okay, I'll have to write him down. I don't know him.
Yeah, Eric. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, not Eric. I'm sorry. Well, Eric Griffin. Eric Griffin, definitely. He's funny, and also Eddie Griffin.
Oh yeah, Eddie Griffin.
Yeah, Eddie Griffin. Yeah.
Bring back Malcolm and Eddie.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I just admire the ones who've done it so long ago and before. You know.
Yeah, but also, why hasn't Eddie Griffin aged at all?
You know why?
Black don't crack, baby.
I don't gotta answer that.
Black don't crack, baby.
And also, if you smile a lot and you laugh, it helps. It keeps you young, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I just turned. Listen, man. I'm old. I'm not a young spring chicken, man. I'm up there too, but I don't feel it and I don't look it. So it's all in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Laughter. That's the best medicine. And now, last but not least, what is next for Chase?
Well, I think I want to start to really start putting out digital content out there to start letting people know that, hey, I am a comedian. Like I exist, you know. I'm kind of like one of these kind of I'm a little bit hesitant of always putting out stuff out, you know, like I'm not like into like TikTok and all like there's like, I know there's like an algorithm to putting stuff out and there's these little things. I'm just not, I just can't see myself every like hour going like this, like, but if I can do it the way I want to do it in the way that's, so I want to start putting more digital content out, start doing some things like that. I'm gonna do a West Coast run. Actually, next week I'm going to the West Coast for like 2 months. So do some shows there. Elevate the podcast, RSB podcasts always, and do a little bit more acting stuff. You know, I want to get into some acting stuff. So just I'm about the work, man. Yeah. You know, I'm about the work. I don't care about being famous. Like I don't care. I'm about creating with people who love what they do. Absolutely. And who are creative, and meeting really genuine cool people who love to create and for the right reasons, and that's it.
I love that answer. Now Chase, tell everybody where they can follow you, where they can follow your personal page, where they can follow the podcast. Yeah,
it's at Chase Abel, CHASE, so at Chase ABEL, not LE. So Chase Abel, and you can follow Very Simple Podcast. We have a page for that on Instagram. I'm at Chase Abel for everything. So whatever you put in. Yeah. Thank you.
Chase, if you are in New York City and doing a show, please let me know about it. I will share it on the page. I will come and see you live. That would be a great joy. And thank you so much for doing the podcast and sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it.
Rocky, thank you for reaching out to me. I think this is one of the smoothest podcasts that I've done for a person that we just kind of met through this, and then and it just is. I think this is a sign that you can actually meet cool people without actually meeting them. Yeah. And and sharing good vibes. So I appreciate you having me. And then if you ever have free time, I'd like to have you on ours.
Oh, thank you so much. I would absolutely love to. Just let me know. And Chase, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.